Hello, good evening, everyone. So welcome to episode 3 of our The Resident Spotlight show. I'm coming live to you from Old Oak, the Collective Old Oak. And sorry, I'm in the dark. I'm broadcasting tonight from my room, and the glorious sunlight is shining through my window, which is here. Keeps going in and out of the clouds. So I see it's gone. I think it's gone behind the clouds now. So I'm plunged into darkness. No doubt that would change halfway through the show. But yeah, so the purpose of this show is to, your chance to shout out to the Old Oak and Canary Wharf communities, anything that you want to share. So if you've got a business startup idea, if you're doing an event, if you're running a business, anything that you do, share it with the community if you feel it can benefit them. And yeah, who knows what will happen. Remember, throughout this as well, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you can comment in either alongside the YouTube stream or comment below on the Facebook page. You can ask any questions, and or we can even bring you into the show if you're that brave. I'll post a link later on. But yeah, so interact. Don't let this just be a one-way conversation. So on tonight's show, I am chatting with Charlie Seligman, and he's a Canary Wharf app developer, and he's going to talk about an app he's been working on, which is about to go big. So before we meet Charlie, let me play you this little clip. Okay, this is showing you what is app. So let me get this. Damn these titles. See, I'm trying to direct and produce the show at the same time. You can't do it. And talk and present the show as well. Let me show you a bit of Charlie's app before we meet him.
Welcome to Swordy Quest, the free mobile iOS game. But what makes this game different? Well, like other games, we have travelling around maps, we have gathering of resources, we have hunting, where you can fight different enemies and flee if you wish. We also have PvP, clans, magic, crafting, all sorts of other things. The thing that makes this app different, however, is we also have full 100% voiceover compatibility.
Voiceover on. Swordy Quest. Settings. Swordy Quest's Charlie level 36 is in grassland within Frogurt Throne. What next? Traveling around is far quicker with a magic mobile portal. Heading. Swordy Quest's Charlie. Gather. Tap item below to gather it. Trees at vertical 0, horizontal, shrub at vertical 4, horizontal 4, button. Shrub at vertical 4, horizontal. Gathered, berries 12, berries 6, berries 14. Nothing left to gather from this shrub square at vertical 4, horizontal 4, dimmed. But, gather. Return to action home page. But.
We also have full compatibility on every single aspect of the game, so let's see hunting.
Choose where to hunt. Shrubs often have the weakest prey. Shrub. Charlie sees a devil-like undefeated flame imp. Level 1. Appears scampering erratically. Ready to swing back automatically each fight round. Charlie's health. 64%. Flame imp's health. 100%. Tap button when player icon sounds inside enemy icon. To sneak successfully. Tap to sneak. Button. You sneak within bow range of the flame imp. 54% chance of hitting flame imp. Shoot at flame imp. 50. You sneak within bow. Shoot at flame imp. Dealt 20 damage. Flame imp's health 171. Shoot at flame imp. 54%. Button. You miss the flame imp. It senses weakness and charges. Fight flame imp. 84. Try to flee. 54. You stealthily flee from the flame imp. Escape. But. Swordy Actions homepage. Voiceover off.
So yeah, it's really important that we get more and more mobile apps to be fully voiceover compatible, because if we can get everyone playing together, then that is true inclusion. Blind, sighted, visually impaired, all playing the same game in the same way. Please share and like this video if you want to see more apps like this. Take care everyone. Bye.
So it's called Swordy Quest. Let's meet Charlie now. Hey, Charlie, how's it going?
Hi, yeah, very good. Thanks, Steve. Very good.
Cool. You're coming to us live from Canary Wharf. How's life there at the moment?
Yeah, nice and sunny, but I too am in quite a dark room out the back.
Yeah, cool. So Swordy Quest. What got you into this? What got you on this journey?
Well, I've been building apps for like over a decade. And I'd always built apps with the primary focus of, right, I'm going to build an app that does really well and goes really successful. And Swordy Quest was actually the first one that was like a passion project. And I wanted to do something that was a mix of fantasy football meets Lord of the Rings. So quite a relaxed RPG style game. And so I started building it. And as I built it more and more and more, people started saying things like, "Oh, it's quite addictive. I'm really enjoying it."
That's good.
And
These things are meant to be addictive, so that's a plus.
yeah, yeah. And so I just focused then solely on it. And for the last like few years, I've just been, plowing away at it, upgrading it more and more.
So how many apps you made then? You said you've done a few.
So I got quite addicted when I got into it. So I've built about over 75 apps.
Wow.
Over the last sort of since iOS 3.
Wow.
So quite a number of years. But yeah, now it's down in the App Store. I've probably only got about 5 to 10 live.
Yeah.
Because they degrade over time as
So
they
an old
upgrade
school
the
app
iOS.
creator then.
Yeah.
Okay. How many hours have you put into this then? Because it's people just download these apps, play them a bit, and then delete them. Or
I've been working on it for about 5 years. It's not my day job, so it's not like 8 hours a day, but a lot of hours.
Wow. Okay.
A lot.
And how big is this Swordy Quest world? Because it's late. It looks to me like Gauntlet. It was kind of like this kind of wizard, Lord of the Ringsy kind of landscape. You're looking down on it.
I hadn't thought of Gauntlet before, but that may be a subconscious input because I used to play that a lot when I was a kid. But yeah, I've kind of it's just been Gauntlet, and then I'm trying to think of other inputs that came into it. I think, to be honest, the sort of Lord of the Rings, that, as I said earlier, that was a really big piece.
Wizards and warlocks, that kind of.
Yeah, that sort of escapism, because I guess, and with the blind community side of things, everyone was focusing on making their banking app accessible, and Tesco's or shopping apps. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say Tesco's, but shopping apps and so forth. We're looking at making accessible. But it was like, well, blind and visually impaired people, they don't just have to live, they also have to enjoy things.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to push down that sort of route more.
Yeah, tell us more about, because this is an award-winning app. You've kind of hinted at why already. Tell us more.
Yeah, so the end of last year, Apple Viz, which is the main blind and visually impaired community for all Apple products, they have this app of the year and game of the year, where you win the Golden Apple. And so I won the Golden Apple Award for Game of the Year, as voted by Apple users who are blind and visually impaired. So that was really nice, because it was sort of, some of these awards you hear about, it's like, oh, so-and-so knew so-and-so and whatever, whereas this was actually being voted for by the blind and visually impaired community. So that was a really nice end to the year, and made all the sweat and tears putting into the game worth it. So yeah.
What motivated you to do the to make it for blind and visually impaired? Have you got a sort of history of that yourself, or is it in the family, or?
No, it's not. But I had actually always thought that the blind and visually impaired and disabled community generally are kind of forgotten about. We focus on lots of different groups in the media. Different groups get focused on. But when was the last time the blind, disabled people were focused on as a big group? And so I just thought, well, here's my chance to do a little bit to help. And I can now do it. I actually, in all honesty, I find it a bit of a shame that I did win the award, because I'm a solo indie developer who builds apps part-time, and manages to still build the most accessible app on the Apple App Store, which means these big development houses, they're just not putting the effort in.
Right, here's the plan
should
then. I'll be your
Yeah.
agent, and I'll market you as a broker, and I
Okay.
will charge a fortune by the hour for you to go out as a consultant, and you can help the big boys sort
Yeah.
of learn how to make their apps more accessible to the wider
Well,
community.
yeah, I think a lot of them know how to. I guess it's just giving that motivation for them to do it.
Yeah.
But
So
I mean,
I was going to
Apple,
ask, are you tapping into a big untapped, opportunity, business market even here?
yeah, I would say massively. And
Do
Apple,
you know your figures? Do you know how big your reach is?
that's very private.
Just in case anyone is looking
No,
at hiring, anyone's watching and
Um,
looking at hiring you as a consultant.
I don't know. I mean, I'd say there's not a lot there on the app game market for blind and visually impaired players. So yeah, I'd say anyone build like Faz's app, that would be perfect. That's probably fairly accessible already, looking at the way it's done, because it's done using some nice, clean Apple objects, the sort of UI things. So I'd assume that's probably pretty close to, and so that could really be an option for Faz if you're listening, to maybe try and get into that market.
So the golden apple, winning the golden apple is obviously feedback. What other feedback have you had from your audience, your users?
So really nice piece you get. So a blind lady who plays the app messaged me and said this was the first game she was able to play with her sighted son.
Wow.
Because he didn't want to play like word games or dice games, which is just sort of historical stuff that was set for blind and visually impaired people, because it's much easier to optimize for accessibility. And she was like, it's just so nice that as a family we can all play the same game, and create that inclusion. That was the nicest bit, actually, of everything.
So just to remind the audience, it's called Swordy Quest. It's only on the Apple, is it iOS store, isn't it? You can't get an Android.
It's on iPhone and iPad, but it is Apple only. Apple have put so much effort into accessibility, that's why they make it very, very easy.
Okay, and you've had some big news about Apple and your app this week. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I got emailed saying that my app is now up for consideration for being featured, due to it winning the accessibility awards, and so they've wanted me to prepare various assets. So a big thanks goes out actually to Rowan and Roxy, who stayed up late the other evening and helped me do all the imagery, and everyone else who was sat around us who also gave their input. That was really appreciated. So a bit of a team effort at
so you got a real team there
on that. Yeah, it was so lovely. Everyone was so nice. They just literally, and they were like, "No, don't worry, we'll just do this. We'll help you out." It's really, really cool.
They know you're on the path to riches, I think. they got a whiff of the cash that's coming your way. We got some of your fans are commenting already. We got Rowan. Great show. Thank you, Rowan. The app looks amazing. Did you plan on making the app highly accessible from the start?
No, I didn't. So when I started the app, I was just building it as a game. But I wasn't using Apple's Sprite Kit. I wasn't using their game design engine. I was using their standard engine. And so I launched the app, and then some blind people messaged me and said, "Oh, I play your game. It's really nice that we can play a role-playing game, an RPG, because we've often not been able to before. But I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do the next thing." So I was like, I'd been thinking about this whole disabled people being forgotten about, and it was a passion project. It wasn't about making money. So I pivoted the whole design, and for the next 6 months, I just did accessibility and got really into it. And it's actually, for any developers that are listening, I can't highlight how interesting it is getting into accessibility,
I
because
was
when
going
you're
to say, so you had to
programming,
research this yourself, this
oh
whole
yeah,
brand
and
new arena.
yeah, and when you're a developer, you're always thinking visually about how will this look, and you're typing away. But when you start having to think about how it will hear to someone watching, is a whole different mindset. And it's a really fun challenge, actually. Yeah. So any other developers, I can't recommend it enough as a sort of development thing.
The feedback is coming in. Is it called Atom 434? Love the app. Great game. Wow, this is phenomenal. Your story is quite amazing, actually, because here you are, a sole solitary part-time developer, and you're pushing the industry more than the multi-billion-pound gaming manufacturers. So, as I said, I'm
You're going to
Charlie's
embarrass me now,
agent.
Steve.
Contact me, and you can meet for a certain price. Charlie, by the hour, he can consult on your projects, help you make them accessible. Wow. Okay. So with the Apple, what's happening with the Apple? Where could that take you? Do you know?
So one of the marketing team, or the team that do the daily featuring, messaged me this morning, and she said it is game of the day that they're looking at. So it would be the game of the day across all the app stores across the world. It would only be for a day, but that sort of exposure, certainly advertising can't buy you or anything.
Yeah. When is this likely to happen then? When do you think this will?
Well, I don't know. The deadline for me to upload the information is coming up shortly. So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Do you know what your download figures are at the moment?
So in terms of players, there's probably a few thousand a week.
Okay, so you will be able, if there's a seismic shift.
Yeah.
You will
well,
know.
Yeah, but I find out the next day. And so I was saying to some friends, if I do get featured, I don't want to find out the day after and then go on the App Store and be like, damn, I missed it.
Yeah.
So I think I will just be obsessively looking at my iPhone early in the morning every single
I'll be
morning.
your agent, as I said. I'll talk with Apple. I'll negotiate this so we get the info as it comes. We got more fans are coming through. Daniel, any sequel on the horizon?
Yeah, potentially. Hi, Dan. Dan's actually someone who because I teach app development at Canary Wharf, and when I go out to companies that I contract for, and Dan I actually taught, and he's actually been in a similar situation where his game Retro Rider ended up on the front page of the BBC, so that was quite exciting. But anyway, hi Dan.
So
yes,
you Canary Wharf app developers then, part-time on the side of your day job, you're kind of hitting the big time here, aren't you? Wow.
And yeah, I'm thinking of doing Swordy Quest, and that's copyright. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing Swordy Quest, which would be a similar sort of thing, but in space, and again, sort of very fully accessible.
Wow, are you monetizing this? Is the cash coming in through this?
It is monetized, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if we said it's on the App Store, so you just go on the Apple App Store, type in Swordy Quest, which we'll give you the spelling on the screen again. So anyone that's
sword with a Y at the end of it.
Yeah. So where'd you get that name from? It's a good name. It's punchy. It stands out. It's original.
I thought take a normal name like Sword Quest, but make it a bit gamey.
Yeah.
By just adding a Y on it.
Swordy Quest is a sequel.
You've got to be very careful with copyright and trademarks and stuff. I've actually had 3 cease and desists over my app career for things where I didn't even break copyright. So it can be a very I had an app that someone was claiming that they owned the term world, which seemed quite unreasonable to me.
Wow.
but you do in the North American market, you get a lot of the sort of suing going on. So I thought, well, I'll make it more sort of jovial, and so I went with Swordy Quest. It actually was originally called Fantasy Worldcraft.
Okay.
Which sounds
Doesn't
quite
roll
cool,
off the tongue.
but it was a
quite
bit
so
of a
well.
mouthful. Yeah.
You could easily start spelling it wrong as you're typing it in the App Store.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, so you could have a whole range of things like Swordy Quest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe we do talk later, actually, Steve.
Exactly. I'm quite creative. I could be quite maverick with my creativity. No, well done to you. Brilliant. So where would you, if you had a Aladdin's lamp, where would you, and you can wish for anything, where would you want this to go? Where would you want your career to go with all this?
I suppose I'd love the idea of consultancy for accessibility, because it's so interesting, and I love coding and development, and then accessibility on top, and then just being paid to talk about it all day and help other people do it. That'd be quite cool, actually.
I could help you with that. No, I seriously think. I think you're on the edge of and sometimes the talent needs the management, isn't it? Kind of thing. I'm willing to do that. I think it's needed, and you're a pioneer, aren't you, in this world, pushing forward? And you've done it.
I wouldn't say that. But I think Apple are the pioneer. To be honest, they've really devoted their attention to it.
So it was their tools that you were able to utilize.
So they've allowed their main development toolkit they've made it so that, provided you're willing to put in the effort, you can do this thing. So yeah, whereas not everyone's, I mean, not every company is doing it to the same level as Apple have been. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. Well, there's no more questions coming through. That is it. What I'll do, I'll put if any of you watching this on demand, if you've got any questions that you want to ask Charlie, or if you want to hire Charlie then for consultancy, contact me and we can negotiate a fee for you to get access to Charlie. Email me. No one else is getting access to this email address now, I'll tell you that. tnltvshow@gmail.com. And for what's it, for silver on my palm or whatever, you cross my palm with silver, you could get to chat to Charlie and he can advise you and consult you on what you can do with your app. No, brilliant. What a brilliant story.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, so it's coming out soon then, isn't it? So the
promotion bit hopefully is quite soon. Yeah.
And
then you'll never hear from me again. I'll be reading Virtus at that point.
Well, I was going to say, do keep us posted. Do let us know. We want to update. This is a big story, isn't it, in the collective community? Yeah. No, cool.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, pleasure talking to you.
And thanks everyone for listening. And I hope you found it interesting.
Yeah, and keep sending your questions over on demand, and we're getting the answers from Charlie. So so that is everything. Look at by the way, have you spotted Baby Yoda? He's a new addition to my room. He arrived today. It's actually the real one. It's not a pretend one. So that's the end of the show tonight. So thank you for tuning in. We are back every second Thursday at 7:30, and we're always looking for guests. So if you're living in the collective community, Canary Wharf or Old Oak, and you want exposure or just want to share your passion or anything, just want to talk about yourself, I know we've got a few guests lined up. Let me know your availability. I'll get the words right. But thank you all for tuning in. Have an amazing rest of the Thursday. Have an amazing week and see you real soon. Okay. And we're going to hear back from Charlie about what happens with Swordy Quest in a few weeks' time. Take care. Bye-bye.